All right, hello everyone. Thanks for joining us today. We are coming to you from Comic-Con in San Diego, celebrating an exciting new relationship with TalkShopLive and the amazing Z2 Comics, held by Kevin Meeks and also Josh Bernstein and the great team here. And of course, we have no TalkShopLive or Z2 Comics without, hence the reason why we are gathered here today. We talk about pioneers. We owe this man a debt of gratitude and his most valuable player over to the left here. He's 6, I believe, stand-up specials, if I'm not mistaken, including most recently on HBO Panic. He also starred in Netflix series Glow, which is fantastic, garnered him Critics' Choice and SAG Award nominations. The series Maron for 4 seasons. And recently, Are We Good? Documentary reflecting his career and the pathway to overcoming grief and loss. And then the Apple TV's TV Plus Stick and In Memoriam and Deliver Me From Nowhere, which he did an amazing role. I wanted to see more of you in that. I thought that was a brilliant movie and a great portrayal. And also 16 years, I believe it was 1,670 episodes. Does that sound
that's
right?
it. Yep.
I listened to almost all of those, by the way, too, and I had a debt of gratitude on that front. Launched in 2009, and I can say this with all sincerity because being a fan of this podcast that Mark and Brendan, you guys did for podcasting what Johnny Carson did for late night TV. I mean, really.
I'll take it.
Did. Yeah, I'm Steve Harkins, host for TalkShopLive. Please welcome Renaissance man, Marc Maron. And Brendan, you worked with Mark for that 16 years plus. Also, Air America, I believe, is where you guys met.
That's right. I mean, and the book covers our whole trajectory from start to finish. Well, the finish being the end of the show.
The Brendan McDonald, Marc Maron trajectory.
That's right. That's right.
It finished here, right here.
Right in this
it's
room.
Ending right now.
I'll tell you what, this is history in the making for sure. And, I often,
This is where it all ended.
and I'm so proud to be the man that facilitated this broken marriage. Speaking of which, I often say with bands, and I think it probably applies to you guys, that like being in a band is like being married without the benefits.
Sure, I think so. I mean, I think bands have more ego issues. I think Brendan and I have always figured out a way to, he does his thing, I do mine. There's never been any fighting or any weirdness, and with mutual respect. I think with bands, at some point, someone's like, I'm sick of this fucking guitar player.
Yeah.
I'm sick of this singer. When's he gonna shut up?
That's right.
Yeah.
Or the more successful they become, they have these visions of grandeur and how they should be maybe put to the forefront.
And like I'm doing my own record.
That's right.
Yeah.
But clearly with you two guys, each of you had your roles in your space, and you respected that.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah, it worked out.
Yeah, and I want to say that what you do, not just with a podcast, but also stand-up. I think in today's contentious times, it isn't just entertainment. I mean, it's extraordinarily important, and I, for one, thank you for what you do. We need Marc Maron more than ever now.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, Marc Maron's on. He's pulling back right when you need him.
Yeah, thanks so much. Yeah, so all kinds of endings for today.
Where are you, Mark?
I'm
doing the stand-up. I'm working on the new stand-up, and I'm trying to. I speak up where I need to speak up. I've been doing some other people's podcasts, and I do my stand-up, and I'm still out there fighting the good fight as best I can.
And we appreciate that for sure. Now, congratulations on this amazing work of art, and that's truly what it is. This graphic novel. That's my moment here. This is completely unrehearsed.
Kind of matches your shirt.
It does, man. I got
Did
the
you do
memo.
that on purpose?
No, it
That's
was totally
crazy.
Yeah, it's totally an accident.
Because it's
sure.
a unique color.
Yeah,
absolutely. Maybe that'll. Yeah, we'll have to do an alternative cover maybe with my outfit and the cover here. But with this exercise of putting it together and also the documentary, I'm curious when you guys are doing the podcast, it had to be a breakneck speed. Plus, you're doing stand up.
Yeah.
And you had all these incredible moments, including, of course, the last show.
Yeah.
But probably the disappointing part, I'm assuming, is that you didn't really have much time to savor all those moments because you just kept going. Is that fair to say? But here you got a chance to do an inventory on all of it.
That's true. We were talking about that personally for me, because you're so in it, and you're doing it, and you're doing the thing. You acknowledge the people you're with, but you're locked into an immediacy, a present. And just it's been in the last few months where I really kind of been able to think about all of the people I talk to and the impact, and very special, unique artists that I talk to and people who I'm in awe of. And now I can sort of feel it. I go back and I really think about it. And it's like, oh my God, I can't believe we did that. I can't believe, like, even just people, the fact that like Roger Waters came over to my house just out of, if you just pull someone out of the sky, the people that just came over to my house.
Yeah. You had a conversation with your neighbor about yard work.
Sure. Oh, did he? Roger did?
Yeah. That was one of the great things, all these little human moments that happen over the course of the show.
Dennis, poor Dennis.
And Mark was, he part of his process was he would just let these things go. He took them in, he let them go, and then I was the one who spent hours with them.
Yeah.
And so I've kind of lived through the show much more than he has.
He's he's my functioning memory.
You need those as you get older.
Because I do. I'm like, who was that guy that we talked to? He remembers everything. It's starting to drift with me.
Yeah, well, but that's the beauty of the package here, right?
Yeah,
They complement each other.
Yeah.
And for you, Brendan, as well, is it just kind of like, things are just churning where, again, you couldn't savor the moments until you had a chance to kind of revisit it here?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely tried to step back, and some things seemed really phenomenal to be up in, the SNL offices and go in there with Lorne and, just see all the history on the wall and that, and do a show like that is impactful, but then you're on to the next thing, you're moving on to the next thing. I think the best example of that was when we had President Obama on in the middle of the run of our show, 2015. The very next week we put up an interview with Rich Voss, because it was just like, nope, back to work, back to just comedians. They're like the foundation of the show, and that's the way it's going to be.
So now that you had a chance to at least savor it to some extent, do you miss it, or is this a chapter just happy? Okay,
I don't miss it as much as you would think, or I thought. It was a lot of work, and we did a lot of great stuff, and it was a long run. And I don't miss it. I think it was a pretty big part of my social life. Yeah. But I do like having a certain amount of space to sort of reflect. Because like you said, you get engaged with that stuff. Even him talking about being up there with Lorne, I'm so hyper focused on connecting with the person. Like, I miss all of that. And I have more space and time in my life. It's not all going great. But
for the record,
But it's kind of reintroducing myself to myself. When you're
in a life that you didn't have the time to.
Sure, yeah, or getting back to what I used to do, which is just sitting around festering about things and then going up on stage and talking about it. Yeah. It's like just straight up doing a comedian's job again, which is good. But I don't miss it, but I do. I miss talking to people, but not so much the job of it.
Yeah, I was just taking liberties since I'm the host and seeing if I could convince you, because
sure,
my life has been pretty lonely without the podcast.
Well, like I said, I don't know that I'll ever do an interview show again, because it seems like everybody's doing it. But I could probably get out there a little more, maybe do some more Instagram talking and whatever. Connect with the people. It seems like
you're wired for it, man.
I do it sometimes. So I don't get into the slog of it.
When you were growing up, I mean, there's some, pretty candid, examples and scenes. First of all, I think the illustrations are incredible, kind of a throwback. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's great. Yeah. Box is great. Can I see it?
Yeah, by all means.
And this was Box Brown's idea. We really owe him, the entire debt of doing the show, doing the book about the show. He came to us and said, "Would you guys want to do this?" And we were big fans of his. We knew him from back on the radio show that we did. He was a listener.
Tell him I love the segment that you guys.
Yeah, we were doing a streaming video show, and there were about 10 people watching, and he was one of them.
Yeah.
And he was the unemployee of the week. And we it was during the financial crisis, 2009, a lot of layoffs, and we were having people on who were recently let go from their jobs and wanted them to tell their story. Maybe, show the people who you are. Maybe you'd be a hiree for someone out there. And he came on and talked about his cartooning and the other jobs he had. He worked at a Japanese porno factory where he had to do the pixelations and stuff.
It's on my list of things to
That's
do.
right,
Yeah.
of course. It's
Before I
you
check
know
out, yeah.
that's why we want a recession, right? But you know we just kept tabs on him since that, and you know his books have been so great. The Andre the Giant book, the Andy Kaufman book. I love his He-Man Effect book,
Yeah.
and he's done just great work that showed us this is a guy who tells stories through comic art, but they're journalistic at heart. Like he's really investigating the subject that he's talking about,
Right.
and then crafting a narrative around the comic panels that he creates. And that's what he did with us. He just sat with us. We had a lot of sessions of just going over the history of the show, going through some of the moments he thought of specifically that he wanted in the book, and then just unearthing from us the things that were like at the forefront of our memory.
I think this is the first time I've held the book.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's I have
Would you
not
like to read
actually
a
held the
passage?
book. Yeah.
Can we
You
get you to
haven't?
read?
No.
Can we get you to read a passage while you're?
Sure.
Yeah, and this is also my cue to let everybody know that we're celebrating this wonderful graphic novel on Z2 Comics, and it's Marc Maron and WTF Is a podcast, and you can order copies on TalkShopLive right here, right now. To order your copies before you order it, I also want to add that Marc has graciously agreed to autograph copies. So in case you didn't know, Marc, you're autographing copies. And,
I am?
Yeah.
You got a Sharpie?
Yeah, we got plenty of Sharpies. It's
Okay.
going to take a little bit of signing and time. And to order your copies, all you have to do is hit the shop button on TalkShopLive. If you're watching this on Instagram or Facebook, comment the word shop, we'll DM you a link. And if you're watching on YouTube, just click the link in the description. The rest is quick, easy, and pain-free, unlike the slight arthritic condition that Marc is going to probably suffer from signing these wonderful
hundreds
books.
of books.
But he'll recover quickly, and maybe some of the proceeds will go towards his ability to be able to get his signing capabilities back in gear. And in all honesty, there's no greater way to show how much you appreciate such a talented man than by owning some of his work. And this is actually a beautiful piece of art and something that you'll absolutely enjoy. So thank you so much for
It's
that.
a full collaboration
Yeah.
between me and Brendan and Box Brown.
Oh look, there's Gallagher.
The Gallagher.
Gallagher's storming out.
Yeah,
That's
so
great.
funny. Oh, come on, Gallagher.
Yeah. So Marc, when you
Yeah.
were young, you also, and you mentioned this, I think, in the book, that they were kind of self-focused, and so from a relationship standpoint, you didn't really have a lot of interaction with them, and so
With who?
with your parents.
Oh.
And so you would go and hang out at the local bookshop.
Oh yeah. I mean,
or at the guitar store.
they were there and they were concerned about me, but no, they were self-centered and a little bit into their own worlds. And yeah, when I was younger, I in high school, I had a job across from the university at this bagel place, and I got very dug in with sort of the art world and sort of in terms of what was going on in Albuquerque. It was kind of a hotbed of weirdo stuff for a while. I guess a lot of cities are. But then I became very connected to Gus Blaisdell, who owned the bookstore down the street, the Living Batch bookstore, and he was sort of some kind of guide, you know.
Yeah.
I can identify all the things in my life that kind of created my brain.
Were you a comic book kid growing
No.
up? Isn't that something? How about you?
I was
Go ahead.
I was a comic book later.
Yeah.
I was not a comic book kid,
Yeah.
but there was a period there, I was in my 30s, where I really started to get into graphic novels and some titles. I always liked underground comics. Like
Yeah.
I think that seeing some Art Crumb comics when I was like too young to see them, kind of like again was a big part of how I saw sex and how the first time I saw what sex looked like, it was probably an Art Crumb
I think I
panel.
was in a camp as well.
Like I went to a B. Dalton bookstore.
Yeah.
And I was like at the mall, at Wenrock Mall. I'd taken the bus there,
Yeah.
and I was in the humor section, and it was the underground comics collection.
Yeah.
And I just took it out, and just a lot of people, you know, I don't know what the language restrictions are,
There
but
are not only
a lot of
those
fucking,
Yeah.
a lot of fucking in there.
Yeah.
There's a whole section of underground comics, sex. And I was like, what is happening? Just standing there in the aisle of the B. Dalton with a boner.
Yeah.
You know, watching that.
That's what the B is for.
Yeah.
And I would date ourselves too, the fabulous Furry Freak Brothers.
Oh yeah, those were great. And like I've got the first Zap comic books, And I like S. Clay Wilson a lot. Like, I like that stuff, and it really, I still like it. I love Crumb.
Yeah. One of the early episodes we did, you were in Seattle, you went to Fantagraphics.
Yep, and that was when I met Daniel Klaus, and
Bag.
Yeah, Pete Bag, and the Fantagraphics. I should sell my friend Raquel. She just did a graphic novel. I hooked her up with Fantagraphics, and it's pretty great. It's called Bimbo Agitprop. There you go.
Love it.
You can't get that on the link or anything, but
No.
Raquel Jack, Bimbo Agitprop is a raw bit of business.
But it is full circle moment, right? Because here we are talking about kind of an important period of time in your life, a good portion of it, and it's immortalized here in a version of a comic graphic.
It is good, and it's of that ilk. This is the legacy of underground comics and alternative comics and real comic art, and boxes. He's got his own thing. It's very identifiable. It's really cool to hold the book. This color is really something.
Well, you would know this color. It was the logo of our show.
No, I know that. And we kept it. We made decisions about that logo.
That was important.
When everybody was changing their logo, because you got to keep it up to date, we held on to this weird. It's not even the drawing of me is only half my head, and I never even knew why. But that was what we used. I don't know why he drew it like that, but I used it for an album cover.
Yeah,
Nathan Smith.
Yeah, love that. I wonder, can you guys kind of share the process of assembling this whole thing, kind of the interaction? Curious of the creative process.
It was driven a lot by Box Brown, mostly in the sense that we wanted him to tell the story that he interpreted, right? We would sit with him, we would talk him through all the things that we had as a kind of chronology of it, but he could pick out the elements that he wanted to highlight and also take the things that he thought made the best artistic choices for the panels, right? And so, there's part of his crafting of this was, I think, figuring out the timeline of the show and pre-show and how that could actually fit into 120 pages or so in a way that told the whole story, but didn't feel like it was immediately condensing everything down to a few panels or that. And I think he did a great job. The things that really hop from panel to panel to panel are when he's showing the overall scope of guests that we had on the show, or kind of various moments in Marc's life, going from his own show to the TV show Glow to things like that. But in general, he really kind of parked himself in the moments that he thought were important, whether it was particularly pivotal episode with a guest, or when we had troubles with a patent troll that was looking to, basically shake down all of podcasting, and that stuff really pops through in here.
It's crazy that there's an interview with me in the back of this book that I don't remember doing. So not only would this be new to you, it's new to me.
It's a great read. You're going to enjoy it.
Okay, thanks.
Having a good authority for sure. I love the fact you could have had that, cold start right from the beginning of the podcast, but really the seeds were planted initially from Air America, and I love the fact that that's where it starts.
Well, that's where I learned how to be on those mics, and that where he learned that I could do it. I think he believed in me in terms of, because he was a radio guy before I was a radio guy,
right.
And so there were moments at Air America where it was clear that I belonged on that mic. I'm a stand-up, but the radio broadcast mic is a very unique and specific thing. And either you come alive on there or you don't.
Right.
And there was something about it. I don't know what they put in the book, but the lentil story, that was the transitional story, where we were doing a political show, but I was just talking about my cats, my life, and there was one day where I was on the air and I was cooking lentils and I'd forgotten I was cooking them, and they just turned into this tar, they overcooked and they burnt down, but it was almost like a tar, and I just riffed on this idea that maybe this was used as an adhesive where you could make a spear, I don't remember.
It was like primordial.
It was going back to the beginning of man.
This was 6 a.m. So it's when people are in the middle of the
breakfast.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just went to this weird kind of prehistoric place, and I did this riff, and it was one of those moments where you come out of it and you're like, that's what I should be doing. That's it.
And the phones lit up of people wanting to talk about their
Burning
food
lentils.
stuff. Yeah, right.
That's the thing. It's never about politics. But if
Yeah.
you're like, I had this thing on my foot, like, phone's right up. Yeah, I know what to do with the thing on
Run
your
with
foot.
it. Yeah, run with it. I know how you guys felt in terms of management at Air America, but I mean, consider the roster and the talent.
Weird.
Do you think it was ahead of its time, that conceptually, at least in terms of the overall tone, or not necessarily?
I don't know.
I always say that it was a successful place at breeding talented people, not just in front of or on the microphone, but behind the scenes. I mean, it's not just where I, kind of came of age as a producer, but a lot of people that I know who went into production across many different media forms were people I met at Air America, and have very successful careers and have done important things on television shows, on radio, on podcasts that you've all heard and and I think that it was a troubled place in a lot of ways, financially and organizationally, and it was essentially built on a lie. But it was, and that being that they had money, they didn't have the money they claimed to have, so it just immediately drove the place into a hole. But I mean, ahead of its time was, I think, in the sense that it found some talent that was not your traditional broadcast radio talent. Again, both on the microphones and behind them, and those people then went to do things that germinated throughout most of people's consciousness.
There was revelations in it for me as a fan. For example, Break Room Live, I didn't know that existed.
Nobody did.
Sorry, I didn't mean to bring it up. But
We were doing it we were streaming before it was available.
Yes.
Yeah, we were way ahead of the curve on that one.
you were.
But Break Room Live was a trip. Yeah, there was I don't know. Is the divorce in here? I think it is, right?
Oh yeah.
It was like going back to Air America. Yeah, him and I have been through a lot of stuff with Air America, like having the original show, and then I moved back to LA, and they were trying to keep me in the pocket.
Yeah.
So I had this night show that he came out and produced for a few months, and we had to wait for the
Clippers.
the Clippers
LA
games
Clippers.
to be over
Yeah.
to do a live broadcast.
Sometimes they would go
appointment viewing or listening.
exactly. Sometimes
Thank
we'd
you very
start
much.
at like 10 of midnight and go to 2 in the morning.
Because it was supposed to be a 2-hour show starting at 10.
Oh, great, they're in overtime.
Exactly.
that was what happened.
It was like ridiculous. No one was listening, but nonetheless, I ended up back at Air America, and I was kind of broke, and I needed to stop and get a divorce under control. So I entered Break Room pretty broken, and then we pulled in Sam, because I'm like, we gotta have Sam, because I don't want to talk about politics, and then it just became this weird, amazing, beautiful tension between me and Cedar all the time.
Yeah.
And it was something, Break Room. We worked hard.
Well, and
we put a lot of money into that
The
website.
funny thing is, Break Room, which was this live streaming show done from the Air America Break Room.
Yeah.
Mark and Sam Cedar was the co-host. And what's interesting is the both of them, right after it broke up, went on to do something that each of them were trying to do in Break Room Live. Like Mark was trying to do this kind of personal connection of, especially with going through his divorce at the time, and I'd really try to get his brain out there and try to understand things about what was going on in this new world, a new post-recession Obama world, and meanwhile he's going through these personal upheaval, and Sam was just laser focused on the politics of the moment, the Tea Party's rising, we had to take it to them, and it wasn't compatible as this streaming show, but it was definitely the start of Mark's journey to starting the podcast, and Sam took this journey to start his own streaming show, the Majority Report, which still continues to this day and is very successful.
Isn't that something? I mean, divergent, scenarios that were equally successful, and I think this probably underscores. I think how I'm impressed with. I don't know if I could have withstood what you were going through, but you're kind of at the lowest lows where everything's kind of falling apart. You mentioned a divorce and everything, but you still had the ability to have this vision in podcasting, and I know the two of you
I know,
talked
we were
about
just
that.
talking. It
Yeah,
was like,
it's funny that it's
To
like
me, it's like how I would be like, okay, I'm packing it. I'm going to go the polar opposite.
When we lost the job,
Yeah.
though, you mean after?
Yeah.
When everything kind of fell apart.
I don't know. I think I remember it feeling pretty liberating though. Like
Well, yeah,
that we
well,
were like,
well,
well,
you
let's
remember-
just do this thing.
Well, you remember Sam was making fun. Like Cedar's so funny when he was like, we all knew
Yeah,
that
the
we
jig was
weren't,
up.
that we had a year deal and it wasn't going to go beyond that.
Yeah.
Because it was just hemorrhaging money and no one was watching. They weren't behind it. But they left us in there, and it wasn't a vision thing. It was like, hey, what do you know about these podcasts? Could we do it?
Yeah.
I mean, I said that to him.
Yeah.
I think what was a big impetus for Mark was, so this was 2009, and we're about maybe 2 to 3 years removed from the real boom of comedians having MySpace pages, and the presence is there. And
Yeah.
I think that was a thing that you felt you had no understanding of when it was happening. You watched this like Dane Cook explosion and
I
was
know.
like, what is this? Why is this
What is it
happening?
worth?
You felt
Yeah.
like late to the game on it, and then it was just gone.
Really, that's right. Yeah, like because I remember, like you could buy followers.
Right.
Yeah.
And I feel like the podcast thing was, once Break Room Live ended, that was almost your way of being like, I don't want to get like out MySpaced again. So I
Yeah,
hear
no,
these guys are doing
So
podcasts.
that was kind of fuel.
Yeah, right.
A little
Let's,
competitive. Yeah. What is
Yeah.
this saying? I know how to do this. Is it something we can do?
and you knew some other comics
Sure.
that were doing it.
Like
Like
the
that
Twitter thing, I got very. I was.
Oh,
very,
yeah.
I was very insecure about my Twitter following, and we pressed on that.
Yeah, those early days of Twitter too was
Yeah.
very, very similar to the early days of podcasting, in that you were really just trying to build an audience, build a
Yeah.
following.
I love getting granular like this, but I want to make it really clear to everybody out there that there are so many different points and
Can I hold the books
experiences
up like
that
this?
are covered.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is unrehearsed. You're doing a fantastic job. I mean, I can see the tote board we're selling on by the pound. That's my cue to say you can purchase a copy of this absolutely wonderful graphic novel from Z2 Comics, and it's Marc Maron's WTF Is a Podcast, and he has graciously agreed to sign your copies while supplies last. I don't think he's going to return my calls after this miserable experience he's going through right now. So you want to take advantage of it and hit the Talk Shop Live button. It says shop. And if you're watching this on Facebook and Instagram, comment the word shop. We'll DM you a link. And if you're watching on YouTube, just click the link in the description. The rest is quick and easy. And there's no greater way to show how much you appreciate the body of work that this man has shared with us, and Brendan for that matter, than by owning a piece of his work in this wonderful
I feel like we
piece.
should be selling a cleaning product.
Well, that's the next show.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
actually, we'll be doing that for sure.
This
We're
stuff
gonna-
the
is
same
a
color.
miracle. Yeah. Put a little bit on the rag.
There's the sheen.
Yeah. Look at that. Shines.
Completely unrehearsed too. This is pretty amazing. We're gonna make a fortune. I can feel
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
You know. So I love how things kind of snowballed. So Judd Apatow
Apatow. Yeah.
started commenting about.
Oh, yeah,
I
yeah,
love what
yeah.
this is going on.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of helped. To
He's a
add
big
some
fan of the
momentum,
show.
right?
Yeah, he was. I think a lot of it helped. I mean, there was a series of guests early on.
Louis C.K.
Well, that was later. I mean, I
Was
think
it later?
it was like the first ones that really, I think, bumped it was like Galifianakis, Ben Stiller.
Yeah.
Like what ultimately happened was because, people were, the entertainment press was kind of anemic. They didn't have a lot of, they weren't, doing as much, sending reporters out. So I think like Vulture and some of the other entertainment, BuzzFeed,
Yeah.
they started to pick up on the interviews. It was almost like we were doing their job for them.
Yeah.
So, Vulture was very supportive because they were getting stuff from our interviews. So that
The
served.
AV Club.
Reciprocal
AV
in terms
Club.
of- yeah.
Well, they just
Yeah,
took
website.
stuff from it. They were just
Yeah.
using it and putting it in print. So
Yeah.
that worked to sort of promote it. But I think they were early on. Yeah, where did I really feel there was a bump? I mean, certainly
The Robin one, yeah, that
Robin
was
Williams was huge.
About a half a year in.
Really powerful stuff in there
Yeah.
in terms of covering Robin. And I
Yeah.
think you said too that you knew like this wasn't just a moment for the podcast, but this was kind of historic when you
I think
reflect
so.
on it.
It
right?
felt, well, certainly when I reflect on it, because he never talked to people like that.
But in the moment, it was even, I think you felt you were kind of doing your duty as, sounds
That's true.
odd, but
Yes.
like, I think that was a real purpose of that interview, was you felt at 6 months into doing it, you talk to mostly comedians, and you're talking about the kind of history of comedy and legacies of comedy, and you felt Robin Williams held a very important part of that, as especially someone from the Comedy Store.
Yeah, and he became dismissed as a thief. The comics. Like these young comics were like, Robin stole material. But
and he was a hack, and he just became a movie,
but it's
nanny.
like he did everything any comic would want to do. He transcended. I get it, but it was an interesting thing for me because I like Robin, but to really, in a way, I felt like I needed to defend him and celebrate, a truly unique comic voice.
Yeah.
Even though I knew all the stories.
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk to him directly.
It was powerful.
Yeah, it turned out it was powerful.
And you also, it's covered in here too, that there was kind of this magical moment where it was like, okay, he let down his guard instead of being, the amped up Robin.
Because there's no one there.
Right.
Like,
that's the setting, your garage, right?
No, it was his house. It was comic.
Okay.
It was comic to comic. I really feel, because there are guys that are like this, Mel Brooks too.
Yeah.
If there was one other person there, just sitting in a chair.
Totally different vibe.
Totally. Because he'd be like, he'd have to do a show. He wouldn't be able to stop himself.
Yeah.
If there were two people.
Right.
But there wasn't. It was just me. Same with Mel Brooks.
Yeah.
I felt like if there was one other person, there would be a show.
I'm not aware that Robin was captured kind of,
No, that interview was unique, totally unique. Because when he did pass, it was everywhere. I mean, it was the only, testament to him being that candid. It just didn't exist anywhere else.
And it was put in the Library of Congress.
That's a big deal. I have that thing on my wall. Yeah.
Yeah,
First podcast.
I think there was a This American Life thing as well, but it was definitely the first interview podcast that was put in there, and their ideas enshrining something that is culturally significant, and they for preservation. That's the idea of it, and it will be preserved.
That speaks volumes. You know what else speaks volumes? There was catchphrases and takeaways. There he is, Vanna White's son. Right on cue, and I wanted to say there was this moment or a series of moments with Michael Ian Black, and I had to write this down. There's no way to get out of the box others have built for you. More importantly, you can't get out of the casket they built for you in their brain, and that really.
That was Michael said that?
No, you said it in your monologue.
I did?
You did.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it was because...
By the way, breaking news again. Here we go.
You were using that episode with Michael Ian Black, and Box does a great job of kind of taking one story and melding it into the other here, that your relationship with Jon Stewart and how that, you tried to get him on the show and realized he's not interested in doing this, and my apology isn't enough to get him to come do it.
Yeah.
And... then realizing with a guy like Michael, well, that's not a guy I had a beef with, but he had his own perception of you. And I think that was actually kind of pivotal for you as an interviewer to know also how the audience is receiving an interview. Back off of my own perception of this and let people have their experience.
Right. Don't talk about it.
Yeah.
No matter how I felt about it.
Yeah. And here we go right on cue, because again, it's unrehearsed. That's why we're here. I'm going to tell you, we're just skimming the surface in terms of what's covered in this book. It really is absolutely a fascinating and thorough read. And it's WTF Is a podcast. Marc Maron on Z2 Comics, available right here, right now on TalkShopLive. All you have to do is hit the shop button on TalkShopLive on Instagram and Facebook. Comment the word shop. We'll DM you a link. And on YouTube, click the link inside the description. The rest is quick, easy, and pain-free, as I said before, unlike the carpal tunnel syndrome that Marc's probably going to develop. Signing for all of you fine fans, small price to pay for the love of the fans out there.
It feels good. It's got a little weight to it, it's a nice, shiny hardcover. It feels like a special thing. You read it, and then you have the thing, and it'll stand out on your bookshelf because of this ridiculous color.
I got to ask you, just from a live perspective, it has to be pretty amazing considering how long you've been doing stand-up.
Yeah.
When you set foot on stage, get behind that microphone, which, by the way, I think is one of the most loneliest occupations when things aren't going well. You can speak that more than I can, but I can only imagine. But when you scan the audience now, you're now speaking not to just say fans over there in the early days, but multiple generations of fans, and that has to be a pretty powerful feeling.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know where, how people, because, I'm obviously not doing arenas, right. So I'm still discoverable, and it does turn out that there are many generations coming. I wouldn't say there's like a large amount of young people, but it's a certain type of young person.
Yeah.
Sort of a tortured young person who knows a little more than they should about stuff. And but it is nice to that, I can sell tickets. I do have an audience. They are a slightly disgruntled, sensitive bunch. But yeah, it feels good to be able to perform for an audience that's yours. And, because for years I just couldn't sell tickets. That's in the book. That Cincinnati, Ohio gig, that story, I'm not even going to tell you. You can get it in the book.
Yes.
That was like the worst.
Yeah.
It was so sad because the
counter to your expectations, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't know why. This guy, it's one of these things because it was one of those markets where Air America was popular.
And it was a college town.
Yeah, so the idea was that the booker was like, this is happening. This is like a real thing.
But we don't want to give the ending away.
Oh, right. I kind of knew what was going to happen, but not to the extent that it did.
I was going through a list of accomplishments, and again, as a Renaissance man, I don't know what else you have left to accomplish except to keep building, but there's been no Marc Maron music album, has there?
No.
So what's the deal?
That's a confidence thing. I'm getting better. Like I have a little band that we're not together all the time, but like if I book a music thing, I got a group of people I play with to put it together, and it was about trying to build confidence, singing. And I think I have it now.
We need a Marc Maron album.
Okay.
We do. I mean, look, I was out there in the audience. I think it was a charity event in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
I just happened to be in town. I was like, I have to go, and I saw you standing up there. You did a very short set, a comedic set, and then you jammed with the band, and you had an air of confidence.
Oh, good.
You could just tell it was just, it's just in your DNA.
Oh, good.
And,
well, that's good to hear. Maybe I'll.
And your music was prevalent in the podcast, right? You would do like little
at
riffs
the
and
end,
things like that.
That became this thing that I just started doing, and then it just stuck. But it kept me playing. That's what I think a thing that I miss is I used to write a weekly update too that I'd send out. So that kept me writing in a way that was immediate and poetic, and I'd spend time on that. And with the guitar stuff at the end of the show, I would sit in there for like an hour sometimes and just trying to find that. And I listened to
locked in the zone, right?
Yeah, I listened to a lot of them recently, and they're all kind of the same. I think I thought. That I was doing something different every time, but I don't think that's true.
Well, I have it on record, and there's a welcome mat with your name on it. But first, we got to move another 10,000 vacuum cleaners and a few thousand more of these books. We're celebrating.
Do we have that many?
Novel. We can make more.
Okay.
Don't worry, it's not a problem. As long as you're willing to sign, as long as you still have the ability to sign, we're going to keep selling. Again, it's WTF is a podcast from Z2 Comics, available here on TalkShopLive. Hit the shop button at TalkShopLive. Comment the word shop on Facebook and Instagram. We'll DM you a link, and on YouTube, if you're watching from that platform, just click the link in the description. And again, Marc has graciously agreed to sign your copy. So this will be an heirloom, and trust me, it's a great read. You will keep going back to it over and over again. Brendan, what does your future hold? I mean, what are you doing now that the podcast is gone full circle?
It's allowed me to take some space, just like Marc has. I still am involved in producing other things. I have some regular production jobs that I do for television, but I have not thought of dipping back into podcasts at this point. I don't even really dip back into them for my own enjoyment. It's just kind of like being one of those things, like a chef who ends up couple decades at a restaurant and it's like, what, I'm gonna eat at home from now on.
Before somebody gets food poisoning, call it a day.
That's right. That's right. So I think what I'm very much enjoying is the space, much like Marc is, and then it allows for us to do the similar thing that helped create the podcast in the first place, which was have that mental breathing room to then go, well, let's try this, and I haven't found that yet, that thing to try that's new. And I'm glad that I have the time and ability to do so.
Yeah, well, obviously you've got vision and talent, and so looking forward to whatever you get behind. What does the rest of 2026 hold for you, Marc?
Well, I don't know what I can announce. I'm
You
going
can announce
to.
whatever you want. We're selling vacuum cleaners. We're selling books.
Sure. Well, I'm trying to put together a movie to direct based on my buddy Sam Lipsyte's book and
Nice.
a script that he wrote, and
That's New Frontier for you, isn't it?
Yeah. I just wanted to do that before I stop doing things. It's a new frontier, but like I don't know that anything is going to stick like stand up or like podcasting did. And directing is like it takes a long time. But I'm this he's my best friend. He's a great novelist, and I've read all his books, and I just felt I know that directing takes a long. The process is not something that I thought I would really like because it's like you gotta wait. And then you got to do it, and then you got to try to sell a movie. Like, it's a long.
It's commitment, dedication.
It's just a long time.
Yeah.
But I don't sound that positive, do I? Like this thing is going to be a slog.
You could have filled one scene based on that.
Oh my God, what a chore! Yeah, I barely want to do it, but we're going to do it. So I'm working on that, and I'm doing a lot of stand-up. So I'm going to put together a special at some point. So I'm working on the new hour, and that's coming along. So I've been touring a lot.
That's great.
And I do the occasional music gig. I'm just trying to figure out. Yeah, I'm going to work on the music album. I could do that. I just got to decide what it is. I don't want to just do a bunch of covers, but then I also am a little nervous about just writing my own songs.
It could be an instrumental. It doesn't have to be a vocal.
An instrumental? What? I'm not that good.
You've been featured on other people's.
Sure, I've done some records with I did a bit on that Love LA record. We covered an Albert Lee. Is that his name? Albert Lee of Love. Yeah, I did a cover with Paige Stark, who I play with a lot.
Call on your markers. Some of the famous musician friends will help prop you up, give you that confidence.
I could do that.
You should do that. I think you should commit to that right here
Okay, I'll commit to doing at least an EP.
An EP, that's a win.
Sure.
We'll take it.
4 songs.
All right, physical. It's got to be on physical. It's got to be on vinyl.
Yeah, we're going to do it analog.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to tape
Analog
it
100%.
all tubes.
Excellent.
All tubes and vinyl.
I could hear the music now as the man speaks. And before we let you go, I want to thank all the fine fans for being here today and for supporting this man and also his partner in crime, Brendan, as well. And also want to thank the fine folks from Z2. That includes Josh Bernstein, the man, the myth, the legend, also Kevin Meek, Anthony, who behind the scenes has helped out enormously, Jerry, who continues to take my calls and didn't file a cease and desist, and I'm very thankful for that. Also to Jared behind the scenes doing the camera work and the sound and making us look good. At least these guys. No hope for me whatsoever.
Good shirt, yeah.
Good shirt though.
Good
and I like
boots.
the color. Good
You're
color.
all right.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'll wear the same outfit. Make sure I launder it for the album release or the EP, I should say. And also, I want to thank Reader Link, who gets the fine books out there to you fine people. To Brian, Sandy, Tina, Brad, Joe. Big thanks to Kathy, Marty, Kate, Brendan, and Sam, all from Talk Shop Live. But most importantly, to this man, the multi-talented Renaissance man, Marc Maron, for sharing all of your gifts with all of us and looking forward to what Brendan's going to bring to the table. Before we part company, any last words you'd like to share with the fine fans out there?
Take it easy. Things are hard and it feels like they're overwhelming. You're probably internalizing a lot of anger and fear and frustration, but just in the moment, try to relax. I'm speaking directly to my fans. I can't say that everything's going to be okay, but I can say it's not all on you to fix it.
Thank you. The Gospel According to Marc Maron, man, it was worth the price of admission alone. Pick up Z2 Comics edition of WTF Is a Podcast, autographed by the man, the myth, the legend himself, and we appreciate that. While you're at it, pick up copies for your friends and family. You worked hard, you deserve a copy as well. This is a gift that keeps on giving, and I have it on authority that this will enhance your quality of life. It certainly has mine. So thank you guys for...
Thank you.
Thanks
for
to
that,
Brian
sure.
Box Brown. He couldn't be with us here in San Diego while we did this, but I mean, this is a huge effort on his part, and we love working with him.
It's all Box. He did the whole thing.
Your time's a premium, both of you guys. Marc, Brendan, thank you so much for
thank
doing
you.
this.
Thank you.
Great
Yeah.
job.
Yeah, thank you. And with that, everyone, stay safe, enjoy life, love one another, rock on. So long, everybody.